The future is here.
I will reiterate, he said himself that you cannot understand Kemetic spirituality and understand no text without Kabbalah, without Western esoteric traditions. And we see it filtering through in everything that he is saying and that he has said for 50 years. Let's get deeper into his conflicts with the fundamentals of Black ancestral traditions and African spirituality, which we will speak about from a Kemetic perspective of the Ka, which is the Ori Inu in Yoruba and which is the Okra in the Akan. This is what he says. That we can take on any of the personality types. The manipulation of mantras is the logical conclusion of the fact that we were made in the likeness of God. He then goes on to say, the Kemetic tradition states that each man has, in addition to himself, 7 personalities, Ka, plural of Ka, Kemetic word for person and personality, and must lean into give full expression to all. So to my Akan brothers, he just said that you got 7 Okras. That sound weird, don't it? To my Yoruba brothers and sisters, he just said that you have 7 Ori Inus, and you need to give full expression to all 7. You got 7 heads. Does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. It's not true. What makes it even worse is that one of Wuser's titles is the Great, and he's expounding that he's an expert. He's been an expert on Kemetic wisdom for 51 years, and he got such a fundamental piece about the Ka wrong. But it gets worse. He states that this individuated spirit, also called a Ka in the Commission tradition, the division of the spirit that contains all of these spheres, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, with their respective deities, is called Sahu by the Cometians, the lower Ruach by the Canaanites, the Amandala by the Bantu, and Ie by the Yoruba. So with the Ka, the Ori Inu, and the Okra being so fundamental to African spirituality, Black spirituality, he places it in his lower part of the spirit. Do you know what he says about the Sahu? He says it's the inferior part. It is the part with the animalistic part. It is the part that doesn't understand, that doesn't know. In the Osiris-Isis society, the Osiris-Set society, Sahu has been used as a label to talk about, has been used as a label to describe immoral behavior, to describe bad behavior. For my Bantu brothers and sisters, he just said that the Amandala, the power, is inferior, is a part of the lower part of the spirit. He just said that our Kra, is a part of the lower part of the spirit, the inferior part of the spirit. And what makes it worse is that while he's saying that the Ka is in the lower part of the spirit, he's got Wuser at number 1. And Wuser's title in Kemet is the Great Ka. You see this contradiction? This is bad. And what's more, he has students, an astrologer out here, who said that Yoruba people are wrong for saying that they're their Ori Inu, that they don't know any better, that they would need to identify with Wuser as their true self, their true identity, which is what Ra Un Nefer Amen promotes. You see this labeling of Africans as not knowing, labeling of Africans as inferior is no different than what the 3 Abrahamic faiths have done. But let's talk about where he got that part, right? Because you can see where he messed up and where he misinterpreted certain Kemetic statements. Now, this statement about the Ka and Kemetic thought is not the imagination or fantasy as implied by the 7, which is Netzach in the Kabbalah. Right? Remember, this is an abstraction. And by conflating the image with someone's sacred purpose and destiny, it reveals a lack of understanding of Kemet. Because what really happened was that he saw that image was another definition of God. So then he conflates it and puts it down in the seventh sphere and say, oh, well, if I imagine and I create images and it must. No, that's not how it works.
When you see yourself as a divine being, you have a divine car. But if you see yourself as a human being controlled by emotions and sensuality, then your car, meaning, is that of a human being. So the car is your vision, your construct that you create for yourself in terms of how you see yourself and your way of functioning. You see that? And that image of your person survives your death for a period of time. You see that, and that's the faculty that is memorialized and ritualized.
Now remember, this sacred piece, this very important piece to Black people, by calling it inferior and putting it down in the lower part of the spirit, he's doing the exact same thing that Europeans have done with their colonial attitudes, right? And what he has done is also plays right into their linear, vertically integrated perspective of life, where it also justifies them enslaving us and colonizing us, because after all, our spiritual practices are inferior. They're primitive. That's what he said. And that's what he said for 50 years. And now people on the continent and in the diaspora are looking at this as something that is superior. Okay. Disrespecting their ancestral heritage, disrespecting their ancestral legacy, as Ra Un Nefer Amen has done here.